speak here today. And I want to tell you that I think what I'm really going to talk about today is a love story. I met Larry some 40 plus years ago. We were both at a mutual friend's party and ended up sitting next to each other on a little stone ledge. And I don't know who sat down first, but it wasn't long before flirting began. And the next thing I knew, Larry and I were on a date. At that point, I didn't know a thing about Larry, except I noticed he had a tattoo on his arm. And I was a little surprised by that. So I said, Larry, what does USMC mean? And he looked at me and he smiled. He said, Rose, that means United States Marine Corps. And I think he was amused by the look on my face. And, well, I think that was my first clue that there was something different about this man. As probably most of you know, Larry is a really modest man. He did not have what I would call a high disclosure personality. But as time went by and I got to know him, I reached a point of realizing what a remarkable man he was. One night I said, Larry, where'd you get that scar? And that was, I think, the first time he began to tell me about his experiences in Vietnam. He was on a mission, he got shot down, he was flown to Germany, where they treated his injuries, and that's where he got the scar. They removed his spleen. Well, he could see that I was visibly shaken by some of the things he told me that night. But he reassured me that he came through all of it just fine, and he even showed me the Purple Heart he was given for all his trouble. And as I held that Purple Heart in my hand that night, I knew that I was in the company of a true hero. Recently, I've begun to remember some of the fun things Larry and I did together. Like the time we took a trip to Indianapolis. Yeah, right, fun trip to Indianapolis. And, well, he was meeting someone at an antique show, and he thought that I'd like to come along because I collected vintage pottery. Well, the show was fine. And then on our second day, of course, we had to go to the brickyard because I think that is what all men who go to Indianapolis want to do. And no surprise, you know all about the brickyard, all the bricks, everything there was to know. But Larry was also really fond of auto racing. And he had, I remember, a little red race car in his stables down on Menard. And I bet you anything that little red race car is somewhere around here. But as far as the trip, all I can tell you right now is that taking a road trip with Larry Giles in that old green truck of his is about as much fun as a girl can hope for. Larry was very generous. He was always giving me things. And of course, I was given lots of bricks for my garden. And one night I remember when he brought me one of the little terracotta rosettes for my garden because my name was Rose and I grew roses, so of course I should have one. Larry really liked my garden. And sometimes when he'd come to my house and stay, we'd get up real early in the morning, have coffee and breakfast in the garden, and just sit there relaxing, watching the birds, until he was gone and up on some roof somewhere, or hanging off probably some scaffolding someplace. Larry gave me a lot of other things too, like the beautiful brass hardware for my house when I was doing some rehab. But I was certainly not the only recipient of Larry's generosity. It can be seen all around St. Louis. And if you happen upon the Temperate House at the garden, you will see the beautiful stone portico he donated to the garden that stands at the front of the Temperate House. I I loved spending time at Larry's house on Menard and helping him with his decorating, because that was my field. We used to select paint colors, talk about window treatments, and all the things that need to be considered when you have a new house. And oh, it was really fun to come over here when Larry first moved in. And once again, we selected paint colors, all sorts of various finish materials, and other things that were needed for the building. I remember at that time how much we enjoyed each other's company and being together. And on occasion, he'd take me over to lunch at this little restaurant that was in some airport somewhere around here. And he'd tell me what he intended to do with the building. About 5 years ago, I called Larry to see if he knew a good roofer. And not only did he know a good roofer, he said, you know, Rose, I have some terracotta, I have some slate over here, roof slating, and if you'd like some, yeah, I can make arrangements to get it over to you. Well, it wasn't until recently I realized just what a valuable roof I had. The last time I saw Larry, he didn't seem well. When I asked him what was wrong, he said he was fine, but he was going to the VA hospital for some treatments, whatever that meant, but he wouldn't elaborate. On my way home, I thought, well, I guess Larry will be okay. I mean, he's done so much and been through so much. I guess he'll be fine, because in my mind, Larry was invincible. But as we all know today, that's not true. When I learned of Larry's death, I was heartbroken, knowing that I would never see the remarkable, modest, kind, generous hero of mine who will always be my forever friend. Thank you.